In the choice of a mate, one of the first questions that arises is, shall my mate be like me or unlike? What do we actually find lovers doing when they first wish to convince each other that they love? Do they not subject each other to a most searching examination regarding all their habits of mind and body, from the literature each favors to the kind of food each prefers? What is the innermost conviction of a man or girl who says that one must choose one's opposite? If the statement is deliberate, does it not indicate a desire for correction? I mean, for the correction of one's stock or individual qualities, whether physical or psychological? And where there is a desire for correction, may there not be self-contempt, inferiority feelings? In fact, doubts as to one's general desirability? A creature proud of his stock's desirable acquired characteristics does not seek an opposite, a correction, which in his children will nullify or adulterate the object of his pride. There appears to be an instinct implanted in all sound animals and races of men to segregate and hold themselves aloof the moment they have distinguished themselves from the rest by acquisition. When I contemplate any great work of man, I regard it as a product of the man as a whole, not merely his invisible side. If, therefore, he happens to be botched or bungled, I expect to find this botchedness reflected in his work, as it always is. I find a priori that culture, insofar as it is social harmony and order, healthy and enduring, must be the product of an ordered, harmonious, healthy man. And if I turn my eyes from the social chaos of today back to the origins of the most harmonious and healthiest cultures, I suspect, without inquiry, that the people who created these cultures must have been unlike us. They were beautiful, harmonious, and wholesome. Consequently, their creations could not help being beautiful, harmonious, and wholesome. We find not only that these early cultures were actually very harmonious, but also that their vigor and power must have been very great, for our culture owes but little beauty, harmony, and health it possesses entirely to them. A further interesting fact is that all these cultures arose in naturally or artificially confined areas, where broad-mindedness, the universal brotherhood of mankind, internationalism, the love of one's neighbor, and other forms of claptrap are unknown. We find these cultures originally in islands like Crete and Japan, peninsulas like India, Greece, and Italy, naturally enclosed areas like Peru, Mesopotamia, and Egypt, and artificially enclosed areas like China and ancient Palestine. In the only cultures that have left a permanent mark on the world, we find not merely inbreeding, but also a strong conscious tendency to keep apart, to segregate. And this caused, in addition to a frontier of prejudice and suspicion between the secluded nation and the world outside, a series of frontiers within the nation itself, dividing off classes and castes. This was so among the Egyptians, Jews, the Hindus, and the Peruvians. The same seems to have been true of the ancient inhabitants of the British Isles and their Germanic invaders. Those who claim that races which are the result of a cross, or of several crosses, are usually superior, belong also to that section of the modern world which, obsessed with the error that inbreeding is per se deleterious, imprudently assume that out or mixed breeding must necessarily be advantageous. Those desirable qualities not already present in the parents are not likely to be created by any amount of crossing or recrossing, while those that are there are only likely to be attenuated and diluted. Nobody would claim that the incessant crossing between innumerable races that has been going on in the Levant or in South America ever since the ancient Greeks and the ancient Peruvians ceased to exist has produced stocks anything like as desirable as these two inbred peoples. Nobody would claim that modern North America, with its hodgepodge of races, is superior to ancient inbred Egypt. Nor would anybody in his senses ever expect anything like the greatness from the United States that Egypt is known to have achieved.